get ready to explore the world of e-commerce with David as he presents Orchard Core Commerce. And David will provide an overview of the project's current state and showcase its impressive range of features.
Thank you, and I hope it will be impressive indeed.
We can see your screen now.
Is it good? Is it all right now? Oh wait, don't need this.
Yeah, we can see the presentation.
Okay. Welcome to my presentation about the e-commerce with the Orchard Core. This is done using through the project called the Orchard Core.commerce. This was started by Bertrand Leroy, who was the developer of its like spiritual predecessor, the Nazet Commerce for Orchard One. And this is an official Orchard Core project maintained by the community, but Lombik Technologies, where I work, took stewardship of it. And currently we have the version 1.1 up on NuGet, and also there are some further progress between versions on Cloudsmith. In case you wonder if this project is in case you wonder if this project is ready for production, indeed it's already used by one of our clients called Ikvil and Tart. It's a Dutch bakery, and they are called I Want a Cake. I think that's something we all can agree with. Additionally, if you want to try it yourself or something like that, it is available on the .nes.com, which is our software as a service Orchard Core provider. You just have to enable the feature and then the Orchard Core commerce related features, and then it can be used. And this is possible because Orchard Core Commerce is very CMS oriented, so the various features can be attached to content types and via content parts. And this means that even different content types can be used to represent different kind of classes of products. For example, maybe you want different content type for physical products or like digital products and vouchers and the like. And there are also some product-specific attribute fields in OCC, which represent input fields where the user can specify additional data regarding their order. And since it's so CMS oriented, this means that we can still use the regular Orchard Core features such as lists to manage these content types and content items. Every e-commerce solution has a kind of checkout mechanism and an attached shopping cart, and this is no different. We basically serialize the content when you add something to the order, and this is quite modular and extensible. And also besides that, there's payment processing. And for checkout, you have addresses, which is a kind of a separate library just for this type, and it can be even reused outside of the e-commerce context. In fact, just recently we have used it for a different client who is not even making a web shop, so that's something. Also, I will show in a moment that the addresses can be stored. They are attached to the user profile if the user is logged in. As for payment processing, currently we only support Stripe, and in the future this will be more generalized. But Stripe supports a direct card payment. It has this thing called the 3D secure authentication, which is something these days required for electronic payment by a lot of countries. That's when it opens a little window and redirects you to your bank for authentication. Additionally, there is a redirect to bank, and you can use payment services such as Apple Pay or PayPal. And these features are specific to Stripe, so you can look up their development portal if you're interested in what is possible. And okay, my mouse was a bit too sensitive. Anyhow, just to show what I'm talking about, for example, is a very simple website with a list part that contains some products, and these products have commerce specific features such as price and inventory, and this product part which lets you actually order, but also have some basic features such as a media part, title, and media field, title part, body part, which are just standard orchard things, and you can mix and match these. And you can add a product or add multiple products if you want, or even do that directly from the product page. And as for the checkout process, you can fill out. In some countries there is a region too, but for example in Hungary there isn't. You can save the addresses, or you can specify that the shipping and billing addresses match. And since this is just a demo, I'm using the developer card number provided by Stripe. This is noted down on our documentation page. This link I will paste near the end. It's among the links I will mention. But the point is that you can just use this address to show off how it looks when you use 3D Secure. If I didn't put breakpoints, that would be nice. Come on, why did I do that? Anyway, it shows that this is just a Stripe test screen, but normally that's where you would use your two-factor authentication to confirm. And moving forward, it even stores this for later. And if you change these properties, then this will not be affected because it's a snapshot stored inside the offer. There are additional features that are, these are kind of the most common things that the community asked for, but there are many more things that we intend to add in the future. But for now, we have features for taxes, for promotions, and for inventory management. And there are extension points for these, and these are all just simple reference implementations, as I will describe later. And these are good enough mainly for local stores, but if you want something international or more complicated, then well, I will talk a bit about that in a minute too. The text feature, well, the taxation is a very complex topic, so what we provided is two relatively simple features, and one is for just a single VAT rate per product, VAT rate, sorry. This is the same. This is good enough for just local regional sales, as you can just provide the VAT rate and the gross price and move on. Or you can have a table with all the tax rates stored, and then it's matched to your shipping address. But this is fairly complicated, and in terms of liability, it's a kind of a big big burden that you would take on yourself, which is why we have a future issue. I can find it. Oh, I've closed it. That's no good. But I can find it in a moment. We have an upcoming issue related to implementing third-party tax services. And if you're interested, please chime in what you would like to see, and if you have any experience working with these. What I have found are common such providers are AvaTax and TaxJar, and these are provided by major companies. So you use their Nugget package as a client, and then just send them what you want to, what the user wants to buy, and then they send you back what kind of tax needs to be added. But it's something that needs to be further researched. In terms of what we have right now, if you go to any of the content items, you have this simple text part, which contains a tax code field that you can use for accounting purposes. Besides that, add a tax rate, such as it is 27% in Hungary. Oh, so not here. And then provide the gross price, and it will update the local price. And for example, this was good enough for this mentioned bakery, because they sell pastries, so it's not like they will ship it globally. And as you can see, it updates the net price, and then this will be used for recalculating the price during checkout. Okay. Gotta go back to update the other one. Because you have to either give it to every item or not, because this would be certainly a weird edge scenario when some of your products don't have tags but others do. But as you can see now, it's marked up that both of them have some amount of tax on them. That's a relatively simple and common solution. Other features, promotions, where you can set up discounts using the discount part. This can be either attached to an individual product, or even to a or even globally to a content, this separate content type. And I will show this in a moment. And you can set up a time period or range to make sure that it only matches to certain orders. So for example, if you want to discount this shirt, you can go here and say mark it down 50%. you have to provide the range of the promotion. Doesn't matter, for example, until, what's now, 2023. Yeah, until next year. And if I just do this, then going back, it will show off that indeed the shirt is discounted. And the unit price is discounted, and the total is discounted as well. But if you tell it that you have to buy at least 2 to get a discount, then it vanishes now. But if you add another one, then it's applied again. What else? Yeah, let's just order it quickly. And as you can see, the addresses are stored. And then the actual value is retained even if you change it again. So even though these values, such as the discount and the tax, are recalculated from the base values for each display, because you wouldn't want to store everything, as that would be incredibly complicated. But yeah, I wanted to also show the global discounts that is achieved by going to the content definition, creating a new content type called global discount. Actually, it doesn't matter, you can call it anything. Oh, I already created it. Yep. What matters is that you set it this specific stereotype, global discount, and then you can just attach a discount part as it is seen here. No specific configuration on it, but then you can now create a new global discount, and you can set up something like, let's make everything really cheap. And it doesn't affect the existing stuff, but existing orders, but it affects the new orders globally. But let's remove it because it's kind of a mess now. Right, yeah, besides the promotions, there's also inventory management, where our reference implementation provides local inventory tracking. This is plenty enough for every case where you just have one store, or if you don't have like a lot of different products, because in that case you would certainly want some kind of warehouse tracking system externally. But what this provides is just a content numeric field that tracks the current value, and it updates when the content part is paid for. And then it's decremented. It's possible to allow back orders or show an out of stock message if you have run out. The difference is that if you allow back orders, then the number can go into negative, and that's good for certain business cases where you can quickly replenish your own stock. But otherwise, you can, for example, set the stock here to 0. And then if we go back, and even if we go to the list, then it will say out of stock. But if you want something else, for example, you know that this kind of products is replenished at the end of every month, then you would say that out of stock, new shipments will arrive. Again, unfortunately, this would be filled for each product individually. So that's kind of a mess, but I suppose if that's not what you want, then you can use localization to just write a different message. As for what's our future, we definitely want more payment methods, and just generalize it so it's more so it's possible to add anything that we want, and also to add a dummy one for UI testing, because currently it's actually not possible to UI test the checkout flow because of that. Besides that, we definitely want more extensibility because we have some ways to add more events that I will show in a moment, but it's done through the code. Actually, let's go there. For example, to recalculate the prices during checkout or when you load the saved order, you have to create these shopping cart events, and they have a method for displaying and another one for verifying. This one is used for example, to check the inventory, as this would return an error message if there are not enough items in stock, or some other verification failure if happened. And then the displaying is used to actually update the what's it called, the shopping cart view model, which, despite its name, is also used for updating the orders. And for example, here you can see that old price and new price is applied when there is a promotion. And if you look at the matching one for tax, then it even let's go back to show. So it now says gross price instead of just price, because it replaced this field. There's an upcoming issue regarding that as well, so that in some countries you have to either show both or just show the net price in, well, mainly in the USA. So there will be a side setting for that, and then the columns will be changed. And this method updates the header, and then once you have the header the header titles, these are used to These are used to generate shapes. Oops. Sorry. These are used to generate shapes that represent each cell in the table. All right. So as you can see, there is some good amount of possibility to extend it in code, but we would definitely want ways to do this in using workflows, and as well maybe using JavaScript through JInt as well. These are relevant to us because it's on .NET, so we have to think in SAS terms as well. And besides that, we have a lot of other small improvements lined up, which can be seen on the GitHub as issues. And yeah, absolutely feel free to either add new issues or chime in regarding the existing ones, because even if you don't contribute code, which would absolutely be welcome, then at least input is always appreciated, because we often find that this is such an international topic that there are some blind spots, as most of us in Lombik are Hungarian, and there are some other colleagues who are European, but for example, we have very few voices from, we have fewer voices from America, and even fewer voices outside in Asia, and I don't think I had seen any commenter from Africa. So certainly we need more diversity in terms of opinions and business knowledge, or business accounting knowledge. And I think before I close it off, I just want to show that even though there's currently a very somewhat limited solution, but there are actually already some events for commerce, but we want to add more because there are more points that can be extended in code. For example, there's none for verification, but there are events for when the product is added, order created. Oh yeah, that's for when the payment is completed. And this is, for example, good if you want to send an email after payment and the like, but we certainly need more. And I may have forgotten to show this live, but yeah, this is the site I mentioned. And just a quick look at it. We are not going to order anything because we can't. But as you can see, it can be styled quite extensively. Basically, everything is in shapes, so normal orchard core shape override works. And with some special features that normally would be done using inject and service injection. In the view, instead we have liquid to make it available. What's called filter. Yeah, for example, to convert the amounts. This is something about currencies. So we had to make sure to make as much of these available through liquid as possible for the sake of overriding them. It's an example that in this store, they actually set up a bank redirect as well, which I couldn't test even if I wanted to. And I think that's about it for me. You can reach us on GitHub and on the project's repository. There's a discussion page, which is the primary way to reach us, as well as we have Gitter too. And if you're interested, you should check out the documentation as well. This has special information regarding how to set it up and how to use these features that I have described here today. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We have also a few questions, and also there are a few minutes left from the presentation time as well, if you would like to share something. But if no, then I would ask the questions.
Yeah, let's go to the questions, and then we can spend some time later if there isn't too many.
Yeah, there are a few questions. So
yeah,
so
I anticipated this.
The first question was payment providers extensible with costume module.
Not at the moment, but it is planned. There is an issue for it on the tracker. If I will paste the link in a moment, if you want to keep up with it. That's it. Yep.
So I would move forward to the second question. Why aren't the inputs adhering to the theme style?
Which inputs?
I think that was the shopping cart, right?
Shopping cart.
Yeah, the checkout. Get all these inputs. They're not the same as the style itself.
That's a good question, and I don't think it's intentional. It's just not heavily styled, so it can be easily altered in a theme. So it only got minimal styling because it wasn't really our focus so far. If there is an interest in a default theme, then we'll look into it. But besides that, I think it would be just in the way to put too much effort in styling.
Okay, so the next question is that is there in place these features? And there are a list. The first one is shipping costs based on condition as shipping address, product in cart, and so on.
Shipping is one of the planned features. It's not implemented yet.
The next one is product variations, for example, colors or sizes.
All right. Yes. There is feature for that, or sorry, not a feature, a separate content part, which we have this normal price part, but there's also a price variant part, and it would look like this. For example, this says size, but could be color as well. And the way it works is that if you look at the content type for the content type definition, then it has this product attribute field that I mentioned. In this case, it's a text product attribute field. And you can have predefined values for it. And if you set this to restrict it to the predefined value, then it will be a radio button, otherwise it's a text box. And you can select whichever you want. And if you use the price variant part, then as I've shown here, it will create separate price fields for each variation. If you have multiple variations, then it's basically a Cartesian product of each axis, so you can have a lot of different combinations if necessary.
The next one, couponing based on appliance providers.
I'm not sure what appliance provider is meant here. If you mean that the coupon should apply just for a certain collection, like based on brand or something like that, then it's not available yet. You can have it for individual products or for everything. But if that's what you meant, that's an interesting feature, and definitely we should look into it eventually. And I see the next one is VAT based on the destination country. Yeah, that's also possible using the feature called custom tax rates, but it's kind of finicky because you enable it and then you will have loose settings for custom tax rates. And then you have to set the match, like the country code, and then the rate, and add a new one. You can match, even if you want, you can do something like US and then, I don't know, New York or whatever, set a different rate, and then this will be applied instead of the individual rates. So in fact, if you have this, then you don't have to fill the gross price out there.
And the last one was VAT.
Yeah, that's what I described right now. Sorry, I went ahead of you a bit.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
I found the comment.
Okay. So the next question was, what about reporting and metrics? Like, do you have plans to show reports, charts, and purchases, inventory, or integrate with external system for this?
Wow. Okay. We have no plans so far, but this is definitely something interesting. I am not familiar with these systems, unfortunately. So if you're interested, please open an issue and we can discuss. But it hasn't come up yet. So if you have input, then it would make the research phase easier for sure.
Okay, we we have still some questions. For example, are product variations supported yet?
Well, it's supported. If I think that's what they meant, and yeah, it's supported. It is. It hasn't been the focus so far. So maybe it's not, maybe it doesn't work with every other feature, but it is available to some extent at least.
Second question, is it built modular, meaning one core module and the rest payments, taxes, shipping, discount, etc. as add-ons?
The way it's done right now, because of the the payment processor Stripe hasn't been abstracted away yet, because we plan to make that into a separate module. So at this moment, a lot of the functionality is in the main module called Orchard Core Commerce, but inside that it is split up into features though. And some of the features that don't directly depend on parts related to price are actually separated into their own modules already. And you can just substitute everything with your own if you don't like it.
Mm-hmm. So moving on to the next question, do you accept a PR, or is it planned by Lombik to implement certain features?
Sorry, what was the beginning?
Do you accept a PR?
Yes, absolutely. And we both accept PRs and just inputs and feature requests. So don't hesitate.
Okay, and how do you keep inventory on variations?
It's not supported at the moment.
Okay, and I see one last question. VAT for item category.
Yeah, so for item category, yeah, you can achieve that by setting the tax code to something like, it can be either like a local tax code or just some arbitrary product class. And then if you go to the settings and assuming that you have enabled the custom tax rates, then you can actually, where is it? Tax code. You can specify a tax code and specify VAT like that, or even mix and match. So like if you have products with lower tax in your country, then you can absolutely do that. For example, in Hungary, I don't know, some kind of essential products have lower tax rate, but I don't remember which is. Okay.
Okay, so oh, there is one more question. Do you support multiple variations for the same tax code in order to support different VATs per region?
Multiple tax codes? No, you would have to just make a longer tax code. And these fields use regex, so you can just match part of the code as well if needed. So if I can find it. Doesn't matter. So you could absolutely just do something like that. Let's say institutional, whatever. Since this is just a marker string, it can be anything you want. What stays depending on the region. If by what do you mean by region? Like we have city, or you can set a range on the postal code. I don't know if Greece has states or not, or provinces. Postal code state. Yeah, you can do those. Just matching regex using the table there.
So I'm not sure. I saw that Zoltan wrote a question as well, but he said that maybe it's the same thing what you were talking about. Does it support EU VAT laws where company doesn't pay VAT, either local or foreign, but a private person does and pays with their local VAT?
Oh, okay. I don't think it's possible at the moment, but I can see how it could be done by adding what is it called? The VAT number for corporations to the basically to the address field, pretty much, or something like that. And then if it's filled out, then that is a corporation, right?
Yeah, that would be one part. So that's where you don't want to calculate with the VAT, although this is a bit more complicated, but let's call it like that. And the second option would be if there's no company VAT, so it's a private person, then you have to calculate with the VAT of the country where that private person is.
I thought it depends on where the private person ships to, right? Because this table matches the shipping address.
Probably is the shipping address. I'm not sure which location, but yeah, that's probably.
Yep. That's what I calculated with originally. I didn't know about this stuff regarding corporations, but I guess that can be achieved by adding some additional option for VAT number or other way to identify that it's a corporation.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I believe yes. Not that supported digital products, but what exactly do we need for that? Just a product without shipping, because it is actually possible to just hide these. It is actually possible to just hide these shapes using placement, and then you can actually submit without them. If it's not necessary for shipping. No problem. Yes, that's another option. I will add it to the issue. Thank you.
So according to the agenda, we have still 5 minutes from the Q&A session, if you would like to ask something.
Do we know if this the e-commerce, is it used in productions in any websites already or no?
Yes, this bakery that I mentioned, this is actually in production already.
Just the only site?
Just this one site, yes. Well, at least as far as I know, maybe someone uses it and doesn't tell us, but that's kind of rude, I guess.
Yeah, that's the only one we know of. But they users don't have to tell that they are using it, of course. There are some quite some downloads on Nougat too, so others should use it as well, I think. Otherwise, we wouldn't have those downloads.
I guess so.
So if there is no more question, thank you very much, David, for the presentation.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And now we will have a little bit longer 8-minute break, and then we will have our last presentation.